Greetings and salutations. I'm back in this room, I guess. So let's go back in and talk about Farscape. Because the previous video got over almost 400 views. So, in this episode, we're talking about IET. And I'll be honest, before we get in talking about it, I was a little bit confused, mostly because when I was doing a little bit of research for it, I had gotten a bit confused in the fact that, on Tubi, it is considered episode 7, and as well as IMDb, it is recognized as episode 7 as well. But on, Wikipedia, it's recommended as episode 2. So honestly, I was a bit confused and like, am I watching things out of order? But let's go ahead and talk about this episode. What happened in this episode was a peacekeeper being goes off, and Moya has landed on an alien planet to prevent its signal being intercepted and Moya being discovered. And honestly, the reason why it is called IET is because, well, in the fact that John is having to go on and find a search for an item that is basically medicine for their ship. Since, you know, their ship is a living, breathing Leviathan. And so they, and then basically he runs into a family, in this case of a boy named Fostro, and his mother, Lena. And basically, like, you know, he's the human, but instead of, like, you know, like, oh, take us to our leaders and all that stuff, it is, in a way, flipped in the fact that John is perceived as the alien, because, you know, everyone else is, you know, like, you know, they're different. So John is perceived as the alien, and, you know, like, everyone on that planet is just trying to, like, say, we need to find these aliens, in a way. And everything that is going back on the Moya is in the fact that everyone is trying to make sure she doesn't get intercepted, and at the same time, the beacon doesn't cause them to be found. And as well as, Rigel is basically just trying to cut off the signal. I will say that although this is the second episode, I really am quite surprised in that, you know, this is from the Jim Henson, you know, like, it's not like, oh, Jim Henson's like that Kermit, so quality and all that.
Will you get out of here? Yes, sir.
Oh, by the way, Kermit, you're angry with me.
Yes, I'm angry.
But why?
Because you were supposed to stop at the 7th floor.
But in the fact that there is Rigel ends up just going, he goes a bit violent in this episode. I'm like, oh, wow. And honestly, it just kind of caught me by surprise, honestly. And also in the fact that, I do have to say when, Dargo is, like, kidnapped, it is a bit of, like, although, like, in the episode, Fostro is basically just, like, he does not really trust John at all, because, you know, like, are aliens, like, you know, in a way, like, you know, the child kind of perspective, like, say, we need to tell someone about all this and what's going on. Especially in the fact that the mother is basically given money and government funding to be able to, get to do all the things to try to figure out where the aliens are and all that. And I do have to say, I do like the little callback to Star Wars and Yoda.
It's kind of like Louisiana. Or Dagobah. Dagobah, where Yoda lives.
Who's Yoda?
Just a little green guy. Trains warriors.
That's a nice touch. Overall, I can say the dramatic aspects of this episode, honestly, work very well. I find this episode pretty entertaining. But, that's just what I think of this episode in this case. IET. Take me to your leader. I'll see you later.